Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse is taking heat after defending his family's membership to an exclusive Rhode Island beach club amid questions of whether it is really all white. Eric Swan is following this story for us. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Dana. Well, you know, he's a firebrand in the U.S. Senate, but now Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse is in the hot seat over his family's membership in an elite private club in Rhode Island. The senator, who is seen as one of the most progressive on Capitol Hill, is facing questions over his family's decades-long membership in what one local news site claims has been an all-white beach club. Newport's Bailey's Beach Club, also known as the Spouting Rock Beach Association, is an exclusive and venerable century-old cornerstone of Newport high society. But a report by a local Rhode Island news outlet that claims the club has no minority members is not true, says Whitehouse, who told reporters yesterday, quote, "I think they got the facts wrong because the clubs informed me that it does in fact have diversity of membership." Senator's spokesman is also going further, saying, quote, "The club has no such restrictive policy. The club has had members of color. The senator has dedicated his entire career to promoting equity and protecting civil rights, as his record shows." Well, Senator Whitehouse is not the first politician to face controversy or run afoul over a club membership. South Carolina Republican Governor Henry McMaster, well, he was criticized back in 2017 for belonging to what was then the all-white Forest Lake Club in Columbia, South Carolina. The governor refused to quit, and since then, that exclusive golf and tennis spot has accepted black members. Well, Whitehouse's club would not comment to us about its membership. And the senator says, actually, he is not even a member of that club. That exclusive privilege belongs to his wife.
Which he transferred to her years ago when this first came up. All right, Eric Swan, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I want to bring in Jonathan Swan, national political reporter for Axios. Jonathan, good morning to you. This is what Whitehouse told Fox. Here it is, a long tradition of a family club, and they're working on improving diversity. I think that's pretty fair, end quote. Strongly outspoken on racial injustice during the George Floyd matter. How big of a deal is this for him?
Well, it's an ugly sort of side of American life that is being exposed here. I mean, you're looking at the very, very thin crust of the elite in Rhode Island, a state that's already one of the whitest states in the country. You know, there's obviously a vast racial wealth gap. So you don't need a sign on these clubs saying whites only for them to be almost entirely white, because you know, they have this exclusive atmosphere. There's, you know, restrictions around membership. There's sort of an opacity about how they admit members. And this is a really ugly part of American elite history. And, you know, for him to be part of this environment is obviously politically very inconvenient, given his role as a you know, self-described role as a civil rights leader in Congress.
You know, I should point out, it's not a new story. It's been out there before. It's been out there in years past and reported on in years past. Now, to the Senate today, SB 1. This is priority number one for the Democratic-led Senate, and that has to do with their voting rights bill. And right now, Jonathan, we don't see how this comes anywhere near passing today. Do you? And if it doesn't, what does it say about the ability of Chuck Schumer to herd the cats under this current setup?
No, it doesn't have a chance, you know, snowball's chance in hell, as they say. There's no chance that this bill gets the votes. And we don't see any path for the type of sweeping federal voting rights reform that Democrats have prioritized. You know, unless someone can hypnotize Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema into flipping their very entrenched positions on the filibuster, none of this is going to happen.
Yeah. Monmouth poll. A lot of this got to do with voter ID, right? That's part of this. Manchin favors voter ID unless he changes his mind on it. We found in the Monmouth poll, 80% of those surveyed favor a voter ID requirement. So what's that say?
Oh, it says that the majority of the country would not support a bill that would outlaw voter ID requirements. But Bill, there's a much more profound disagreement underneath all of this. Yes, out there in the country, there seems to be a strong majority behind voter ID laws. But where this really breaks down is you have one party, the Democratic Party, which supports a federal approach to voting laws and voting rights, overhauling and setting some standards at the federal level. You have another party, the Republican Party, which wants to do this at a state-by-state level. And, you know, those two things are incompatible. So I don't see any room for the two parties to compromise, even though there are these issues where out in the country there's a lot of agreement.
Yeah. SB1, we'll see what happens next. Jonathan, nice to see you. Come back soon. Jonathan Swan from Axios.